Greetings, vac fans, and today we're going to go over a couple different things. You'll notice you've got some bags over here, and you got a piece of paper over there, and over here you've got a DC25. Now what's so special about this DC25 is today there's about 4 days worth of dirt that's been vacuumed up. This is the whole house, including dog beds. We have 3 humans and a short-haired boxer named Rosie. And this is about 2,200 square feet of a combination of carpet and linoleum. So a question was asked, how much airflow loss and suction does a Dyson lose as the bin fills up? So this bin really isn't very full. When you have a bagless machine, it tends to kind of fluff the dirt. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? It's a good selling point. It said, look, I'm vacuuming up all this dirt, and it's spinning around like a little tornado in there. So this might be, I don't know, maybe a quarter full, a third full by the time I kind of, try to get it to come all the way down flat. But I'm not really anywhere near the max line. So I measured this with this amount of dirt in it. Of course, I know what it does without any dirt in it. And this machine, as measured from here, up at the top, is 70 CFM with everything clean. Filters, you name it, nothing in the bin, and the bin being blown out. And with 2,200 square feet of house, which I think is around 15, maybe 1,400 square feet of carpet, and the rest being linoleum, I went and I measured the airflow back up here again, because it's just quickest to measure it up here. And guess what I found? Maybe 1 CFM loss. It was so close, my meter was basically indicating that essentially it had no real airflow loss. You say, what about suction? It says no loss of suction. Well, as you've seen in all my videos so far, suction means pretty much nothing as far as picking up dirt. So we've done sand, we've done flour, both on top and underneath the carpet. We've done stuff, say, here on my concrete floor, and suction just doesn't really matter much, but by and large, I'm sure if I measured this machine that the suction would be nothing appreciable. There just wouldn't be any appreciable difference whatsoever. So maybe 1 or 2 inches of water lift. But bottom line is this thing tests out at nearly 100 inches of water lift anyway, as measured from the hose, not measured down here. Here is probably something in the 50s. It's pretty high for a machine. I mean, after all, Dyson says highest levels of suction. They'd get in trouble if it wasn't. But let's actually take a look at the dirt. So I'm going to dump the bin out here. I'm going to turn the camera off, be right back. Okay, so I've dumped the bin out as best as possible, and I know if I go and take a blower to the inside of those little cyclones in there, I know that there will be some dust in there. And you've seen some other videos where I go and blow the dust out, but this is the best I can do at the moment. So a lot of people forget that there is a filter in the top of the machine. In fact, that's how I got this machine. This filter was completely clogged up to about this high where my finger is, I kid you not, with pet hair. And somebody just put it at the curb because it completely lost, well, as they would probably say, suction, but I would say airflow, because airflow means you can't pick anything up anymore. So you notice you've got just really some hair in there. I'm sure there's some fine dust. My wife has long hair, and there's some of that in there. That's not dog hair. And you've got carpet fibers. Well, of course, that's more human hair. And you've got some fine dust, to be sure, packed in there somewhere, maybe, I don't know, a tablespoon or something like that. And you've got there's some dog hair, anything like brown is dog hair. But for 4 days worth of dirt, I don't think that's really too bad. And if you do that twice a week, you really end up with a house that's pretty clean. So I don't know what you have comments on, but I know people who get more dirt than this out of one room, and this is literally the entire house, and also 2 dog beds. So anyway, to answer the reader's question, how much airflow does it lose? Well, vacuuming up that much, which I realize isn't that much, and it didn't pack the bin, it essentially lost no airflow and realistically no appreciable suction. Now, if you go and you pack one of these bins, and especially if you suck up stuff that you really shouldn't, like, say, damp material, well, it's certainly going to clog the fine cyclones in there. All those little holes will get clogged, and then you're going to lose airflow. And once you lose airflow, that's it for vacuuming. You're going to have a really lousy time. You're just not going to be able to pick anything up. Okay, so let's move on to part 2 of the question. Is we got some bags here. So we got some machines, and I am missing my Hoover Tempo Wide Path. That's this bag right here. But let's start with smallest to largest. So this is the perfect HEPA bag that I put in the Electrolux, and this really maintains airflow very well. Matter of fact, this thing maintains airflow even when it's full so well, it's a little dangerous. You've got this little adjuster right in here, and it's really an airflow bag pop adjuster that when the airflow drops enough, bag pops and the little light comes on. And this mechanism here still works. But this keeps the airflow going so well that with a full bag, between a full bag and completely empty bag, this bag right here, completely full, now again, it's my dirt, your dirt might be different, it loses only 7 CFM. So that's just not that much. And it's so little that this bag pop mechanism, the eject mechanism, never rejects. So with this bag, you got to be careful. You could end up filling up the bag and also filling up the hose. You could end up filling it up a couple feet into the tube, and this thing would still never pop. So you have to check the bag, because this thing has been chock full of this type of dirt, and it just won't pop. So to recap, 7 CFM loss from empty to full. Now let's go to a larger bag right here. This is much larger, probably 4 times the area of the little small bag over there, the perfect bag. And this is a Crucial Vacuum Aftermarket HEPA bag that fits in a Hoover Wide Path Tempo. And this one can hold a lot more dirt. And back in 2015, I filled this completely up, all the way up to the top. And this lost a total of 15 CFM from completely empty to completely full. But the Tempo has an awful lot of CFM available, so that's not really that much of a loss. So it will still maintain airflow like you wouldn't believe. So we've gone from 7 on this guy, 15 in this guy, and then here's a Kirby bag. And just for comparison, here's a paper bag. You can see that's not going to have nearly the same area. Even if you expand the pleats in here, this is just frankly larger. If I'm remembering right, it's like 500 square inches. I mean, it's huge. This bag, you technically are not supposed to fill it all the way to the top. You're supposed to fill it to the full line, which is halfway, as far as I can tell. And as much as I tried, the Kirby compacts the dirt so hard, so forcefully down into the bottom of the bag, that saving dirt for a year, I could not get any more than about maybe 75% full. So I just really didn't want to wait months on months. I'd already waited a long time. So I took measurements of this thing, and this bag lost 75% full, not all the way. It lost 17 CFM. So I would predict, at least with my dirt, when this would hit the full line all the way up to the top, that I would be at probably about a 20 CFM loss. Now you got to remember, a Kirby runs in the hundreds of CFM. Well, 100 plus, not like 200 or anything like that. They're in the 100 plus mark. So if you have a nozzle like this, and it's running, say, 120 CFM to start, and with a full bag, you drop 20 CFM, you still have 100 CFM left. And that's more than a Hoover Tempo Wide Path starts with, and certainly it's way more than what an Electrolux Olympia 1 can possibly do. So bottom line is, with these HEPA bags, you lose some airflow, It's not very much. So just to recap, this guy full, you lost 7 CFM. Big whoop-de-doo. This one here is a much larger bag, and it loses 15 CFM. A little bit, but so what? This one here, a giant bag, about 20 CFM. So you say, well, wait a minute, why does a large bag lose more CFM? Well, you have an awful lot more area. I mean, look, if I were to pick this thing up and stretch it out, blow it up, so to speak, have it be as big as it could possibly be. See how deep that is? It's just tremendous. Even when it's, loaded in the outer bag, you've got an awful lot of area there. But that means you also have an awful lot of dirt, and it's tremendously compacted. So in this case, the bigger the bag, the higher the airflow loss. But with, say, a Kirby, it starts out so high that even with maximum airflow loss, there's still a ton left. A lot left with this guy, and plenty left with this guy. The paper bag will clog up a lot more. I mean, this only has so many layers, and you've seen this, for the sand and the carpet test. This has many more layers, and the airflow stays really high for a long period of time. So I hope that kind of answers your questions. I know this video maybe wasn't as fun as seeing me run some machines or doing some kind of a weird test, but I hope this kind of explains a little bit about airflow losses, and you get a chance to see Bill's dirt. Woo! So until next time, thanks and bye-bye.